A small fast food restaurant was located in a busy part of the city. During rush hour, customers from all walks of life, office workers, students, and local residents flocked in. The hum of voices mixed with the clatter of kitchen equipment. Behind the counter stood Kyle, a white young man in his 20s, glaring irritably at the long line. The shifts in this place were long, and the demanding customers only added fuel to his already short temper. Kyle was the kind of person who saw customers as nothing but a source of annoyance. To him, they were always asking for something, complaining, or just getting on his nerves. Today was no exception. Kyle was on edge, his irritation apparent in his tone and gestures. At that moment, Jaden, a 15-year-old black teenager, entered the restaurant. He was dressed in a simple sports jacket and jeans. After school, he had come here feeling a little hungry. His gentle smile revealed his friendly nature. Jaden had been raised by his father to respect others regardless of their status or position. He quietly joined the line and began thinking about what to order. When his turn came, Jaden slowly started listing his order, a bit hesitant about choosing a drink. Burger, fries, can I have a second to decide?" he asked politely, glancing up at the menu above the counter. Kyle rolled his eyes. His voice grew sharper. "Are you going to order today or what? There's a line, you know." Jaden felt embarrassed but tried to reply calmly. "Sorry, I'm still deciding. Maybe I'll try a Coke, or maybe..." These indecisive words seemed to push Kyle over the edge. He slammed his hand on the counter, drawing the attention of everyone in line. "This is why I can't stand kids. Can't make a simple choice? Hurry it up, kid." Jaden felt his face flush with shame. A few people in line began whispering. Some looked annoyed, but no one stepped in. Suddenly, Kyle grabbed a burger sitting on a tray and hurled it straight at Jaden. The food hit the boy in the chest, the sauce and crumbs splattering all over his jacket. "There you go. Now get out so I can serve real customers," Kyle sneered. The restaurant froze. Customers stopped eating, talking, or placing orders, watching the scene unfold. Jaden, stunned, stood motionless, staring at his stained clothes. His hands trembled, but he tried to keep his composure. Taking a deep breath, he looked Kyle straight in the eye. However, Kyle had already shifted his attention to the next customer, as if nothing had happened. A woman in the line spoke up angrily. "What was that? How dare you? This is outrageous." A man nearby added, "He's just a kid. How can you treat people like that?" Kyle simply waved them off, sneering at the upset customers. "What, you want a free burger too? If not, order something or leave." Jaden quietly stepped away from the counter, avoiding the curious and sympathetic gazes of those around him. His face burned with humiliation. All he wanted was to run away, hide from everyone, and forget what had happened. But deep down, he knew this couldn't go unpunished. As he reached the exit, he turned back and glanced at Kyle. The worker continued with his tasks, ignoring the commotion in the room. Jaden took a deep breath and stepped outside, determined to tell his father everything. Something inside him whispered that justice needed to be served. Jaden, deeply shaken by what had happened, walked down the street, replaying every detail of the incident in his mind. He felt a wave of hurt and humiliation wash over him. The stains of sauce on his clothes were still visible, a painful reminder of the event. Occasionally, passers-by glanced at his soiled jacket, which only added to his embarrassment. His thoughts churned. Why did he do that? What did I do wrong? Jaden was too young not to take such a situation to heart, but old enough to understand that it couldn't be ignored. Stopping at a bus stop, he pulled out his phone and hesitated. Remembering his father's firm but kind guidance, Jaden decided to tell him everything. He dialed the number and waited as his father picked up. "Hello, son," came the steady voice of Captain Howard Brooks. "Are you okay? You sound upset." "Dad, I'm okay." "Well, not really," Jaden began, his voice trembling. "I was at a restaurant, and one of the workers, he threw a burger at me, just because I was taking too long to pick a drink." There was silence on the other end of the line. Then his father's voice grew serious. "Tell me everything. What exactly happened?" Jaden began recounting every detail, trying not to leave anything out. As Captain Brooks listened, He felt anger building inside him. As a police chief, he knew how often people faced similar indignities, and each instance felt personal to him. "All right," the captain said when Jaden finished. "Are you at home?" "No, I'm at the bus stop." "Wait there. I'm coming to get you. We're going to handle this together. No one has the right to treat you that way." Jaden felt some of his tension ease. He knew he could rely on his father. 15 minutes later, his father pulled up in his car. He was in plain clothes, but his confident demeanor and piercing gaze revealed the kind of man who was accustomed to seeking justice. "Get in," he said firmly. "We're going back to that restaurant." Jaden got in, and they headed toward the restaurant. As they approached the building, his father spoke. "You'll stay close, but don't get involved. Let me handle this." Jaden nodded, feeling a mix of nervousness and relief. He knew this day would teach him an important lesson about standing up for his dignity. Captain Howard Brooks entered the restaurant with a confident stride. His eyes quickly took in the usual chaos of the fast food place: noisy conversations, the hum of the kitchen, and the beeping of cash registers. But his focus was clear. Kyle, the white young employee behind the counter, looking just as irritable as the day before. Kyle continued serving customers, throwing out curt remarks and barely hiding his frustration. Howard got in line without revealing his status or intentions. Jaden stayed near the door watching his father. The teenager could feel his heart pounding with nervous anticipation, but he trusted that his father knew how to handle the situation. When Howard's turn came, he stepped up to the counter and placed his order. "1 burger and a coffee, please," he said calmly, fixing his gaze on Kyle. Kyle, not recognizing him, frowned and muttered irritably, "Hold on. Is everyone after burgers today or what?" Howard remained composed, silently watching as Kyle processed the order. Once he received the receipt, Howard asked, "Were you working here yesterday?" Kyle, slightly wary, replied, "Yeah. Why?" "My son was here yesterday, a black teenager. You threw a burger at him when he was trying to order. Do you remember that?" Howard's voice was cold but controlled. Kyle froze for a moment but quickly masked his discomfort. "I serve hundreds of people a day. I don't know what you're talking about," he said with feigned indifference. Howard reached into his pocket, pulled out his badge, and placed it on the counter. Silence fell over the restaurant. "I'm Captain Howard Brooks, and that teenager is my son. I want to know why you thought it was acceptable to treat him that way." Kyle's face turned pale. Whispers spread among the customers, and several turned toward the counter to see what was happening. The restaurant manager, hearing the commotion, rushed out of his office. He looked alarmed and quickly tried to defuse the situation. "Excuse me, sir, what's going on?" he asked, glancing nervously between the captain and Kyle. "What's going on?" Howard replied evenly, his voice steady but commanding. "Is that your employee humiliated my son yesterday? He threw food at him. If this is your company policy, we can discuss it at a legal level." The manager shot a sharp, disapproving look at Kyle, who now seemed frozen in fear. "Kyle, is this true?" the manager demanded. Kyle stammered, "Well, he was taking forever, and I didn't mean it like that. It was a joke." "A joke?" Howard cut in, his voice firm. "A joke is when both people laugh, not when an adult man humiliates a child." The manager didn't hesitate. "Kyle, take off your apron and leave. You're fired." Kyle opened his mouth to protest, but the words caught in his throat. He slammed his apron onto the counter and walked out under the disapproving eyes of the customers. Howard turned to the manager. "This is only the beginning. I expect a public apology from your company." The manager nodded quickly, promising to resolve the matter as soon as possible. Howard glanced toward the door, where Jaden was watching from a distance. He motioned for his son to come closer. Jaden hesitated, but approached slowly, feeling relieved as he saw the situation under control. "Dad, do you really think this is enough?" Jaden asked quietly as they walked out of the restaurant. Howard placed a reassuring hand on his son's shoulder. "No, son, but justice starts with the first steps." The next day, the incident at the restaurant unexpectedly gained public attention. A customer who had witnessed the event posted a video on social media. The footage clearly showed Kyle's rude behavior toward Jaden, including throwing a burger at him and humiliating him in front of everyone. The video quickly went viral, sparking outrage. People condemned such actions, and the restaurant found itself at the center of heated discussions. The company that managed the restaurant chain was quick to issue an official statement. They apologized to Jaden and his family, emphasizing that such behavior was unacceptable and did not reflect the company's values. The management also promised to implement staff training to ensure that incidents like this would never happen again. Still, for many, the situation served as a reminder of deeper issues that needed attention and decisive action. Seeing the outpouring of support from strangers, Jaden began to feel more confident. People he didn't know wrote to him, expressing sympathy and admiration for him and his father for not staying silent. His father showed him hundreds of comments from people thanking them for standing up for what was right. For the first time, Jaden realized that even a small action could lead to meaningful change. Captain Howard Brooks organized a small press conference, calmly recounting the incident and highlighting that this was about more than just his family. It was about encouraging people to stand up against injustice whenever they witnessed it. This is a story about the importance of staying strong, even when you feel vulnerable, he said. We can't turn a blind eye when someone treats others with disrespect and believes that's acceptable. Jaden also spoke a few words during the conference. Yesterday I felt upset and powerless, but today I know there are people who are willing to support and help. I'm grateful to my dad and to everyone who stood by my side. This incident led not only to Kyle's dismissal but also to changes within the restaurant itself. Staff training programs were introduced to promote respect and professionalism. Jaden received a personal apology from the company, along with a goodwill gesture, a card for a year's worth of free meals. Most importantly, Jaden and his father saw that their efforts had not been in vain. For the teenager, it was a powerful lesson. No matter the circumstances, it's essential to maintain dignity and stand up for the truth. For Captain Brooks, it was another step in his ongoing pursuit of justice, proving that every action, no matter how small, could make a difference. They returned home, knowing that this day had been transformative not only for them but also for many who had heard their story.